he has to be like, oh, how come you're starting your guy? You're starting your guy.
Right.
He's not a big fan of that kind of stuff. He'd rather avoid the controversy, and in turn, Ryu's going to be named an all-star either way. He doesn't need to start that game. He doesn't need to appear in that game. It's an exhibition. It doesn't mean anything. Let him hit in the home run derby before you let him pitch.
Well, no, I don't want that either.
There's my hot take. For
that
Credence agrees. Cy Young. Period.
Yeah, he is the Cy Young. Jonathan Watson 0984 says, "Will the Dodgers sweep the NL awards?" Yeah, I mean, no. As of right now, you don't. Well, it depends. Like, sweeping the NL awards, I'm only thinking of Cy Young and MVP.
Okay, then yes.
Do I think? Yes, I think they'll get the Cy Young. I think they'll get the MVP because I think that Cody Bellinger will figure it out. Mm-hmm. So let's talk about a little bit of the positive things that are happening with the Dodgers right now. Outside of, you're like, wait, positive things.
The Blue Diamond Gala is going today.
Well,
and I skipped to be here with you, but also I found out that I can go like last night. I didn't know, so I was like, eh.
All right, well, give me something positive about what's happening with the Dodgers. You still have Justin Turner still playing like Justin Turner. He's fine. The starting pitching is fantastic. If you want something positive, the entire starting rotation has been the best I've ever seen of the 3 years. So that's one thing.
I talked to Rick Krajewski about that.
I love Rick Krajewski. Yeah, that's fine. Rick _K21. He'll be on this show at some point.
I talked to Rick K about that, and I was telling him how my buddy or my co-host Brook Me 3, where you at, boy? But
he's not watching. He doesn't love us.
I think he's busy. You never know with that team. But the Dodgers have been a team that have just been gifted and blessed with amazing starting pitching throughout the franchise, and you see what they've done this season, and you're like, holy crap. Yeah. This is blowing. I mean, we're never going to say, oh, this is better than Koufax and Drysdale, because you can't say that. However, I've been watching the Dodgers a long time. I know you've been watching the Dodgers a long time, and I am hard pressed to say you'll ever find, and I've ever found a better rotation by the. We saw Kershaw, Greinke, and Ryu.
Right.
But could you name the other two guys in that rotation?
At that time, I mean, Hill might have been in there.
I love that 2005 Dodgers rotation with DJ Holton and.
Oh, you're going far back. Yeah, I don't even want to get into that. But this Dodgers rotation has been the only time that we're seeing anything different is it's funny because Kenta Maeda has been really, really good, except for when he can't get out of the first inning. When he has trouble in the first inning, things go wrong, and he did just last night against the Angels. It was the battle of the first inning for him. He gave up 2 home runs. He gave up 5 runs in that inning, and you saw bad Kenta Maeda in the first inning, and then he rolled the rest of the way. And that's what always happens. And so we've seen that more so over and over again. And I put Periscope back up. So if you're back on Periscope, thank you very much for coming back on. So that Derek Lowe from Dodger Rebel, remember Derek Lowe? He got a little angry. He was a happy guy.
We're not going to name any names.
No. So, all right. So of the starting rotation, you have 5 guys that are good starting pitchers right now. Plus you have Julio Urias, who could be a starter at some point, or will be next year most likely.
Stripling was a 2018 All-Star as a starter.
Correct. So that's another guy that is. You have 2 guys in the pen right now that are going to be that can be in there. Who would you want as your starting rotation? Do you want to move guys from the starting rotation into the bullpen when it gets closer to playoffs?
I don't think
you don't go 5-man rotation in the playoffs.
No, in that regard, yeah.
Right.
Well, when it comes to there again, it's going to end up being Maeda back in the bullpen. That's what happens every year for him, and we've seen him at times absolutely dominate. But otherwise, those are going to be your 4 guys. You're going to have, the resurgent Kersh with his diminished stuff. You're going to have Buehler, who's just on fire again. Right. Ryu's going to be at the top of that rotation. I don't care what anybody says. He's starting game 1 every time through.
Yep, as
of now. Who do we got there? Rich Hill, who was the best playoff pitcher for the Dodgers last season.
Last two seasons.
Yeah.
Rich Hill is the best playoff pitcher.
At 900 years old.
But yeah, I think, and that's what those guys are going to be. You're going to be your horses moving forward. And by the way, Walker Buehler, another guy, just like Corey Seager, who didn't play in spring training, or maybe had a little bit of time in spring training, not much, if anything, that needed time to get back to that. So, and now, over the last couple weeks, you've started to see Walker Buehler where he gets through the first 5 innings, he has trouble in the 6th inning, but then over the last couple starts, that's all changed. And now he's throwing fire again. Yep. He's mixing pitches. He's not just throwing 98, 99 miles an hour. He's dropping
pitches.
down.
He has his breaking pitches back again.
Right. Yeah. And that's when you can keep guys off balance like that, going from 99 to 89 with basically the same arm motion, you're going to be a good pitcher.
Yeah. 100%.
So, all right. So now when we get closer to the trade deadline, what you're talking about second base, we're talking about bullpen. Is there anything else that you think that this team needs? Because right now we have catchers that we have Austin Barnes, we have Russell Martin that are.
We have Will Smith,
right? Yeah, we
who
have
should be playing.
He's too young. He's not gonna. You're gonna get the time.
24,
right? But he has not had much time in the pros. I get it. I understand he has options. You can push him down into AAA, back and forth.
It's a numbers game, man.
It is. He will be back up eventually. I'm not worried about Will Smith. I love Will Smith.
He had I forget how many at bats. Will Smith had. Let's find it real quick. 21 at bats, 2 home runs. Compared to Austin Barnes, 4 home runs and 126 at bats. That does play a difference.
Well, it does. Okay, if we're going strictly by home runs, sure. But Austin
by
Barnes,
plate appearance.
Well, by plate appearance, home runs. We're not in a home run or bust team, a home run or bust league. No. Austin Barnes does a lot of things at the plate that are different than a lot of guys. I'm not saying anything negative about Will Smith. I thought when he came up, he played good defense too. He had a strong arm to second base.
Yep.
He actually threw out a couple guys.
Yep.
He did hit a couple of home runs, especially that game-winning home run, which was a huge deal. Was his first home run ever.
That is a nice first home run to have under your belt.
So he'd be a great guy to have. However, I think that Austin Barnes does a lot of things that we take for granted in that eighth. Yeah, the intangibles in the eighth, especially in that 8th spot that he's in for the most part.
Yeah.
Where he doesn't strike out a ton. He takes, and when he does, he still takes a lot of pitches. He works pitchers. He'll either walk. So say there's 2 outs, and he takes a walk that gets the pitcher up, and then you're starting the next inning at the top of the order instead of having the pitcher up. Come on.
I mean, if that's your.
Well, I'm just saying. No, look, I'm saying those are things that get pushed aside. If you're taking 8, 9,
fail slightly less than other people, so we can get the pitcher out of the way. I don't build my roster around.
Well, look, you don't have to, and I get what you're saying. But look, I'm saying he does things that help moving forward.
Yes.
Let's say he comes up and he hits a single, and then the pitcher comes up and then strikes out or gets out. You're doing the same thing anyway. You're getting up. So I'd rather him take at least 8, 9 pitches and work the starting pitcher and get into the fluffy center of that bullpen of most teams, because it's not just the Dodgers.
The creamy nougaty center.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So look, I'm not saying. Look, I love Will Smith, and I think he's the catch of the future. And I think this is something where else we can go with this is that does that take Keibert Ruiz and make him expendable?
I think he's a little bit more expendable. I would only move Keibert in the most glorious of trades, like
sure.
Mike Trout might. No, maybe obviously Mike Trout's a little bit much. We'll say maybe it's not maybe. It's a definite. But I still think the higher ceiling is with Keibert, however people want to say it.
I don't know how to say it. Yeah, it looks like Keibert to me, so I'm going with Keibert.
Keibert has the higher ceiling. Will Smith has the higher floor, I think, if I'm saying it right.
Higher floor. He starts off higher? He starts off higher.
His worst is still going to be good, as you don't know with Ruiz what you're going to get.
Right.
That's kind of my
okay, well, so there's other guys that you have in AA, single A. You have Omar Cartaya. Or Diego Cartaya, excuse me, Diego Cartaya, and you have Connor Wong. Also, so you have a plenty of catching prospects. Yes. Can you move? This is where it starts getting difficult too, because Yordan Alvarez was in the Dodger farm system.
You one of those guys?
He was. I'm just saying he was in the Dodger farm system. Now he's with the Astros. He's up with the Astros. He was mashing.
Yes.
And so now these are types of things that are going to eventually come back and bite you at some point. It just kind of happens that way.
Yeah.
So, do you risk moving Keibert Ruiz for good pieces, whether it's a second baseman, another catcher, or a good, strong bullpen piece like an Amir Garrett who's under control.
Yeah, I mean, if you're able to move him for a Garrett and a Scooter Gennett from Cincy,
it's not 2 for 1.
Well, it's not going to be only him. You got to mix in another guy, but you're talking about a blue chip, can't miss prospect going in a deal like that. It's not a 1 for 1, and it's definitely not a 2 for 1. But you're going to mix in somebody else for sure. You're not going to trade 2 catchers. We got Tim over there talking about how Connor Wong is good but not elite.
But
he's great depth, and he would be he would be the number 1 catching prospect on a number of franchises right now.
Right.
But you absolutely need to trade valuable pieces. I know, surprisingly, you need to trade valuable pieces. You can't just go get, I want Roger Clemens, you guys can have Kike. Baseball doesn't work like that.
Right.
I mean, the Dodgers have actually been quite blessed to have so few of the people they've traded away pan out. I think Yordan Alvarez has been
the only
one guy.
Yeah.
The guys, everybody traded in the Machado trade last year has flamed out.
Yeah, do you even remember any?
Zach Pop blew out his elbow. The main guy, the outfield guy, another.
The outfield guy.
Yadier somewhere other.
There was a Yadier Alvarez on a team at some point.
I went on some damn Baltimore podcast and talked about it. I was like, oh, yeah, man, can't miss. Apparently, I am a jackass.
So, I mean, but this is what makes, going back to Andrew Friedman, that's what makes Andrew Friedman so great, is that he can do those types of things. He understands who the can't miss prospects are, and he understands who the guys that, okay, I can move him and I'll give you a couple guys to get the guy that I want.
Yes.
And that's what we're seeing more so of that. And that's where we're in a situation, the Dodgers are in a situation where they can do these types of things now because you're so blocked in so many different positions, like outfield, right? There's guys in the outfield that are blocked from coming up and playing with the Dodgers. Like, people love DJ Peters.
Yeah.
And
even though he cut his hair, what up, DJ?
Yeah, like, people love DJ Peters, but he's blocked. I haven't heard much. People love asking me about Andrew Tolles, and maybe since SD Dodger is here, he can tell me what's going on.
He's
with
gone.
him.
He
was. Last I heard,
went home.
He went home. Okay,
he went back home. There's something nobody will ever actually know what's going on with Andrew outside of him, his family, and the Dodgers organization. But he's there might be something with family, but you just hope he can figure it out at some point, because that kid was an impressive talent. But he needed to be here day one in spring training and really show something if he was ever going to have an opportunity to crack this club. And it didn't work out. It sucks. He was great. And that's just the way it goes.
Yeah, he had his time up here, and he was great for who he was. But yes, you're right. The last I heard that he came back to extended spring training after those issues, but apparently now he's gone.
Yeah, he started working it out, and then he just kind of took off.
So here's a good one, which was just recently in this trade with Cincinnati. Was Taylor Spencer 4414 is asking, what about Jeter Downs? Jeter Downs is a middle infield
shortstop
prospect. Yeah,
over with Rancho right now, high single A. He's recently, over the last month and a half, he's really turned it on. He's hitting bombs. He's dropping bombs. He looks. I did get a chance to get out to one Rancho game to get my Walker Buehler, what's it called, bobblehead. But
there you go.
He looks competent for a single A shortstop. I mean, there's a lot of people that know a lot more about him than I do, but he seems like a nice kid. He's not an answer for any Dodger related question.
Not right now.
For this season, next season, maybe 2021, you might see him, get a mid-season cup of coffee. But there's also a chance you might see him, get sent down or get sent out in a trade.
Yep.
Because the Dodgers got another good piece in that trade with Josiah Gray, who's also looked pretty damn good of late for Rancho, if I'm not mistaken. But I mean, there's a lot of opportunities to move plus players, but it's just everybody here can feel happy and confident and sleep at night knowing, that guy might be somebody good, that could be somebody good. Do you want that guy that could be somebody good, or do you want that damn championship already?
Right. Yeah, so look, we're about a minute and a half away from being done here. So inside my 2-minute warning, we're going to get one more thing in real quick, and then we're going to get out of here. I just want to say thank you very much to Real FRG, Clint Pasillas, host of the Blue Heaven podcast on Dodgers Nation with Brooke Smith. You can find him at BrookMe3.
At BrookMe3.
Something like that. So, those guys, excellent job I love their podcast. It is live, so just like this, you can go ahead and have a conversation with them as well. Last question, then we're going to get out of here. I'm just going to read it straight off because this is how I do it. Danny Boy 1911 says, the real question, who are we going after before the trade deadline? Bullpen support. We kind of got into all that stuff, but basically they'll get bullpen. If Andrew Friedman feels that we need another catcher, if he feels that we need a second baseman, he feels that we need a shortstop, if he feels that he needs any of those things, he will go out and get it.
Absolutely. It's going to happen. There will be a change of scenery for some players with the Dodgers. It's 100% going to happen. You just hope that right now, all we got to really hope is that Corey Seager can be happy and healthy at some point, and everything will fall into place, and we will see you in October for sure.
Right. Prayers up to Corey Seager. Hopefully everything's okay with him. Thank you to Bleed Los, at Bleed Los on all their platforms, Instagram and Twitter. I'm Greg Bergman. This is Clint Pasillas, at RealFRG, at Bergman Greg on Twitter and on Instagram. Out of here. See ya.
Bye.